Hi, I'm Nelda Physio, and today we're going to talk about something essential to our lives but often overlooked, and that is breathing. Breathing is something we do every single second of every day. The question is, are we doing it correctly? And are we even thinking about how we are breathing? So today we're going to look into different types of breathing correctly, incorrectly, efficiently, or less efficient, and then also the types of health benefits that a correct type of breathing can have for you. I think it's something that I teach all my patients in my clinic, because now when we have a more sedentary lifestyle, we're seated often, we've forgotten or de-evolved in the way that we breathe. So I think it's such an important topic to discuss. And especially I want to share this with you because I feel like it helps all of my patients change their attitude about posture, about their health, about the way that they move and do things. It's just the way they breathe. It makes everything much easier. Okay, so let's take a deep breath and dive in today's episode. So what is breathing? Breathing is air coming into the lungs in the form of oxygen and coming out in the form of carbon dioxide, a very, very important part of our functionality, because without it, it basically we won't be able to survive. So we need oxygen to survive. This is the fuel we get into our system, which goes into our bloodstream and fuels the whole body, muscles, everything through exchanges that happen as well. So like I said before, oxygen goes in, carbon dioxide goes out. Breathing is something we do without realizing. You won't believe we breathe 22,000 times in the day. Wow. So, I mean, you wouldn't even think about it, but that's how much we breathe. So it is a very crucial part of our life. And so the thing is, how are we doing that? How are we breathing? Are we breathing inefficiently, or are we breathing efficiently enough to get that gas exchange, to get that air exchange coming in and out? So that's the question. So basically our lungs are fueled with this oxygen and carbon dioxide. And fun fact is, if you, let's say, take the lung and you were to spread it out, the surface area of a lung covers half the size of a tennis court. That's how complex the lungs are, and the little alveoli and the little bronchioles and everything that covers the lung. It's so complex, and that's why it's so important, because it's what powers us. It's what gives us everything. So it is controlled. So how we breathe is controlled by the brain, in that sense, the autonomous nervous system. So the body will react to, let's say, if we're moving faster, the brain will automatically make us breathe faster, so to let that exchange happen quicker. Similarly, if we go into rest or sleep mode, the autonomous nervous system will calm down, so it will lower our breathing rate, so that, again, that exchange can be efficient in that rest mode. So this is how it's functions. So we don't have to think about, oh, breathe in and breathe out. This is happening automatically in that autonomous nervous system. So this is how we breathe in. When we breathe in, the diaphragm contracts, and then you get the rib cage opening up. That means there are the muscles in between the ribs that contract. They push it out, so allowing that rib cage to expand. The diaphragm goes down, and it acts like a vacuum, so it sucks the air in, allowing for that exchange to happen. So diaphragm goes down, rib cage comes on out with that contraction of those muscles, and then the vacuum actually pulls the oxygen in. And as we breathe out, basically the diaphragm relaxes, the intercostal muscles also relax, and the rib cage comes together, pushing the air out, releasing that carbon dioxide out. So now let's take a moment to see how you breathe. So we'll take some time. I just want you to breathe. Take a deep breath and see how you're breathing. Okay? Now there are two types of breathing styles, let's say. It's a style of breathing. One is a chest type breathing. So it's a superficial upper shallow chest breathing. What happens is you're breathing in, this part goes up. So it's mainly the chest, the rib cage and the muscles, and then you're breathing out, the chest goes down. That's shallow chest breathing. Right? So that's the shallow part. The thing is with that is there's no diaphragm involvement. So it's mostly the chest and intercostal muscles that are working. And this often happens if you have more a seated posture, if you are more sedentary lifestyle. This is the problem actually that has come about. So the first type is this shallow breathing. It's actually not a very healthy type of breathing because you're not actually filling your whole lungs up with air. It's just the upper part of the lungs. And you're restricting the efficient flow down into the lower lobes of the lungs. So the issue with this is it can increase stress and anxiety because you're having to take more breaths because you're not efficiently getting enough oxygen in. You also will have your posture hunched forward in this sense. So it really causes a lot of stress onto the muscles, neck, and you might have headaches as well. So this type of breathing is not very healthy. A lot of stress I see in patients who have thoracic pain or shoulder neck strains as well, and then I always have to look at how are you breathing, It can cause also lethargy and tiredness because you're always breathing like this. So you're having more breaths to take, so you become more tired and your muscles are being exerted as well. So this is, if you've just taken a breath and you're breathing up here, we need to change that ASAP. And also actually can cause and help worsen things like health issues that you might have, like for cardiovascular issues or blood pressure. This is not a very good, or even asthma. This is not a good type of breathing. So then we go to the second type, which is deep breathing. So now if you've been breathing and you felt your tummy fill with air and the lower part has been expanding, so if you've taken a breath like this, that's a deep breath, a deep abdominal, sometimes they call it tummy breathing. That's a deep breath, okay? A diaphragm kind of breathing. So the difference between the shallow breath and the diaphragm breath is you're using your diaphragm. So here you're actually filling your whole lung with air, your whole lungs with air, pressing the diaphragm down. You might have a question, what is a diaphragm? Let me just get that sorted for you. Basically, the diaphragm is a muscle that we have. It's quite a big muscle at the lower part of the lung. It is responsible for 80% of our breathing. Because of that muscle functioning, it really plays a big role in our breathing activity. So it's the most efficient muscle it's the most efficient muscle for breathing. So if you're not engaging this diaphragm, it's a big problem because you're just not being as efficient with the amount of oxygen you can get in. So if you're getting a whole percentage of oxygen, why would you just be okay with 20% of oxygen? You would want the maximum oxygen to get into your body. So the diaphragm breathing is the type of breathing where you will get that, So the diaphragm also is aided by the abdominal muscles. So when you breathe out as well, the abdominal muscles, which we call the core. So I've talked about the core before, and the upper part of the core is the diaphragm. So it's part of the core muscle, the muscular box basically. So the abdominal muscles and the core help the diaphragm to push the air out. So these are important factors when you're talking about deep breathing, because this is how low you want to take that breath. So this is how deep you want to take that breath. Rather, it goes right down here, not up here, down here. So diaphragmatic breathing basically is a super way of breathing because it includes the diaphragm. So it makes it, when you're doing this kind of breathing, it helps make that muscle more efficient, the diaphragm muscle. Then you get lowering of blood pressure. Your When you take that deep breath also, your breaths per minute reduce. So really helping with calming your system down. And there we go, less stress, anxiety really helps with this, and really helps with people who have asthma or pulmonary issues like COPD patients, people who have breathing difficulties. This type of breathing is so important. So you have less stress, anxiety, less heart rate, less blood pressure, really brings down and calms you down basically, and improves overall muscle function as well. Even for patients, actually, my patients who have lower back issues, I actually include deep breathing because and include core activation with the breathing as well. It's a great way to introduce the core and diaphragm activity. So for people who even have long-term chronic pain, upper body or lower spine issues, these are great. This diaphragmatic breathing is a great way of activating that, and it's a lovely way to include that in your exercises as well. So let me just show you how to do a diaphragmatic breathing technique. Okay, so guys, now I'm going to teach you the deep breathing technique. Now, as I told you before, if you're doing a shallow type of breathing, it'll look something like this. So it's mainly the upper body just moving and nothing down here. So the deep breathing, you have to imagine 4 rooms, upper rooms and the lower rooms. You want the air to come down and fill the lower rooms first, and then the upper rooms. So check in the lower rooms first and then the upper rooms. And when the air goes out, the lower rooms, or the air from the lower rooms goes out first, and then the top 2 rooms. Okay? So I'm going to take a deep breath. The air is going to come in and fill the whole lower part, and then it goes out, right? So watch it again. And so you want to be actually having your hands down here so you can actually feel the whole rib cage and stomach actually go up. If you don't feel anything happening, then you're still breathing quite shallow. So you want to feel the expansion of your rib cage and the diaphragm pushing the stomach up, and then that's lowering. The rib cage is coming together and it's pushing the air out. So remember, 4 rooms, visualize it. The air is coming into the lower rooms first, filling all the lower rooms first, and then the top. And then as the air goes out the air goes from the bottom to the top. Now, I've done a different type of breathing with my lips as well. That's called a pursed lip breathing. So how that works is you breathe in from your nose and out through your mouth. This is a style of breathing which will slow down the pace at which the air goes out. So it slows everything down. So you're not kind of, or you're not mouth breathing, but you're actually breathing first in through your nose and then pressing your lips together, letting the air go out slightly. Now, actually, I do this type of breathing. I do it like 5 times in the day because you need to take time, you can't do it very quickly. You also need to take breaks as well. So otherwise you might get lightheaded. So I would start with, you can do 3 breaths, take a break, do another 3 breaths a day. So you are doing 6 breaths, but you've broken it down. And then you can increase it if you want to. But eventually, this is the type of breathing or the style of breathing that you should be having when you're seated and standing. So the easiest way is to do it lying down, as I am now with my legs bent. And it's the most relaxed position, I would say. And then you can do this type of breathing 3 times, take a break, do another 3 breaths, deep breaths. And then you can do that for a week or 2. Once you feel quite comfortable, you can increase the repetitions And then you can try to do it seated as well or standing, because eventually this is the healthiest type of breathing that you can do. Now, of course, you can't be doing pursed lips breathing when you're talking to a friend or something like that, So, this is only when you're doing the breathing technique. But if you're doing normal day-to-day activities, as you breathe in, you might breathe in through your nose and just let it out slowly through your mouth. But it comes so naturally that even when I'm talking to you, I'm breathing deeply now. So I'm not breathing superficially, like you can't see. You can definitely see and feel it if you're breathing superficially. There's a lot of activity that's on the upper chest area, and it stresses and tenses your upper body. Whereas now I'm talking to you, at the same time I'm breathing deeply as well. So this is how you can start off and then build it up so that you can do it standing or seated as well. So guys, breathing isn't just a vital life function that we have, that we need. It's something that you can actually include in your exercises because it gives so many health benefits. If you're having stress and anxiety, if you're having issues with asthma or breathing problems, if you've just recovered from the flu and still having difficulties breathing after a flu, deep breathing will help you with that. You can even include it into your daily routine because it has just so much of it reduces blood pressure, it reduces your heart rate. It really, really helps just loosen up everything, even for your lower back and thoracic spine. So, like I said, we've forgotten or we've regressed in terms of breathing. And this has really, really caused a lot of problems, which I see in physiotherapy in clinic all the time. So I'm literally teaching every single person, and now I'm teaching you. I've given you the technique of how to do it very, very easy. It's just practice. So I know that you will include this, and you can include this in your day because it just takes you 5 minutes. So it's not a difficult thing to do. It's just a thing of concentration. So the first time you might not be so sure, but when you practice, you get it, and it'll become better and more efficient for you. So take a moment each day, take a deep breath, and it's a small thing that you can do for your health and well-being. And I do it all the time now. This is the way I breathe, and it's amazing. So, and it works really, really well. You see, it's easier to improve posture as well, because let's say you're breathing like this, we're hunched, but taking a deep breath immediately improves that dynamic movement that you need. So yeah, it's just great. Okay guys, that's it from me for today. Keep breathing, and keep breathing the right way. And I'll see you next week right here on our television with another episode of Mel the Physio. Let's take a deep breath and dive in today's episode. Dive into today. Dive in. So, what is breathing? The breathing. Okay, sorry. Okay. So. Okay, okay guys, that's it for me for today. Keep breathing.